transformed our relationship. It completely turned it around. It brought all the passion back into the relationship. We are stronger than ever and better than ever. But first of all, I want to tell you what led to that moment. So a little while ago, my fiancé and I, we started to feel a big distance between us, and I was feeling it from him. He started to pull away from me, and we've been together for a number of years now. All of a sudden, he started to resent my presence. He started to spend more time in his room. I didn't understand it. I could not comprehend as to what was going on, because only a little while back he had proposed to me, and suddenly everything had changed. As we were talking about what was going on with us, I discovered that he had some built up resentments that had built up because he had not discussed them, and now they were in the way between me and him. And so we were at a place in time where we postponed the wedding because everything had suddenly changed and I didn't know why it had changed. He just felt different. He felt this distance between me, and therefore, because he felt emotionally distant, our physical, intimate life was also impacted. During that time, I was going through a big transition period because I had to really reflect within me what was going on for me. Did I stop trying to look attractive for him? What was I doing that was pushing him away? The conclusion that I came up with, and I did a video on this, which you can find on my channel, which is about codependency, was that I was too attached to him being a certain way. I had become codependent on him without me realizing. And he had also found that he was codependent on me and didn't like that feeling and started to pull away. And so we were both about to embark on a solo trip. I was going to Africa and he was going to Thailand. So we were both going on separate trips, 2 different continents. I decided that it would be a good idea if we just stopped all contact while I was on this trip. No contact at all. From the moment that he would leave the house, there would be no text messages, there would be no phone calls, there would be no updates, there would be absolutely nothing. And I felt that this would give us the space that we needed to really reflect on our relationship, what was important and what we really wanted. I just want to say that from my part and my perspective, I knew what I wanted. I wanted to continue the relationship. I wanted the passion back. I wanted the love back. I wanted the fulfillment back. This is not to say that we stopped loving each other. We knew that we both loved each other. We said that the whole time. Love was there, but the passion had gone. This was the missing link. It was this desire to have long conversations that we used to have, this desire to be in each other's presence, this desire to just love being with the other person. And the question that I was asking myself is love enough? Or does there need to be something more in a relationship? And what sort of came to me was that in a year from now, if things haven't changed, I think that we will end up separating. Or it will be better than ever because there's some big obstruction that we're both going to overcome. So I thought that it was going to be one of those 2 things. And so I was going through a real grieving process because it was really hard for your relationship to suddenly change, to suddenly have someone who's absent in the relationship. It's really, really difficult. There's a grief process that I went through. A lot of crying, a lot of praying, a lot of meditating, a lot of being with myself to really connect in with what I was feeling. And I was allowing myself to grieve. I was allowing myself to cry. I was allowing myself to be sad. What I had decided before I had come back from Africa was that whatever would happen, I would surrender to it. I wouldn't cling to it. So if my fiancé decided that he didn't want the relationship to continue, or that it just was never going to get better, then I was just going to surrender to that and not insist that it was going to be something different. And that if we had to separate, it was going to be for everybody's highest good, including my highest good. Because I really believe that, I really trust that whatever is happening for my highest good, and it's happening for everybody's highest good, and that's all I want. I want everybody to have their highest, most expansive path ahead of them. And so what ended up happening, I was really nervous. I came back from Africa first. I was here for 4 days on my own. And of course, the no contact policy meant we had not shared anything together in the last 2 weeks. And this was the first time in many years that we had had no contact. I was speaking to a friend about this and she said, "You're going to know the moment he walks in the front door." And I said, "Yeah, I will. I'll know from his face." But I did not expect what would end up happening. I thought that he would come back and we would still sort of continue along the same trajectory, but I did not expect for there to be a quantum leap, and there was. The moment the front door opened, Christian burst into tears, dropped his luggage, ran towards me and lifted me up and told me how much he loved me, how much he missed me, how important I was in his life. So he went through a huge process of self-reflection. He did some important meditations when he was gone, came to the conclusion that everything that he was resenting was not important. And what was important was our relationship. And so instantly, our relationship had this quantum leap into the future where we really felt stronger than ever. We once again felt that we would no longer take each other for granted. There were also changes that happened for me as well when I was away. There were certain things that happened that I'm going to talk about in other videos where I was given very specific messages about how to show up in my relationship with Christian, how I need to show up, how I need to not, when he asks to go downstairs for a coffee, to stop my work, go downstairs for a coffee and spend that time with him and make that the most important time and not always put work first. So there were things that I actually stepped into and I upgraded into in terms of holding our relationship with reverence and love and care. And I will talk about that I learned from Africa in another video because they were really special. The feeling ever since has been this incredible closeness with myself and Christian. We've both realized that our relationship is so important to us. And this time apart was the biggest blessing that ever occurred. And the interesting thing was that I resented him going to Thailand. I didn't want him to go to Thailand because he had just recently been, and I was like, why is he going so soon? But he really found his peace there and he loved the freedom there, the freedom that the country gives, the energy that's felt in the country. It's interesting that I resented him going there even though I was going to Africa, and yet it was our biggest gift was for him to go to Thailand. And so I'm not suggesting to you that you need to go to Thailand and your partner needs to go to Africa. But what I am suggesting is that when you come to a bit of a stalemate in your relationship where things are not shifting and things are a bit stuck between you and your partner, time apart and real time apart, like no connection, no contact, is such a beautiful test to see where you are in your relationship. No contact, no connection, no text messages, no looking at each other's socials, absolutely nothing. And the gift that that gives you is, one, wherever you are, you can be totally present in that place. Like when I was in Africa, I did not connect with anybody from my family or friends or anybody at all. And that was such a gift because I was able to really listen and open up to what the country had to offer me. And secondly, it was able to give me a very, very deep insight and reflection into the magical relationship that I have with my fiancé and what I need to do to step into it. And then also how I can also surrender into the magic and the beauty of it as well. If this video resonated with you, I'd really love for you to share it with somebody who perhaps is going through some relationship issues. Yeah, I'd love to hear your comments, whether you've perhaps done that yourself in a relationship and what happened, and whether you're prepared to do that in a relationship with your partner, even if it's for a day or two, as to what would happen. But I have to say that I think the 2 weeks was perfect for us because the beginning of the 2 weeks was really about me and what I could do to connect deeper within myself. And the second part of the trip was all about us, where we were as a couple and what I could do to up level. And so that's what I'd love to share with you today. And there's heaps and heaps of learnings that I have had recently that I'm going to share with you in a real way, in a vulnerable way, in an unscripted way. And I hope this lands where it needs to land, which is in your heart. Sending you so much love. Always remember to live in truth because nothing else matters.